Just yesterday, President Trump announced that the U.S. could be ready to eliminate income taxes for the American people. This could potentially put $14,000 back into your pocket every single year. But who is it going to benefit the most? Is it going to be the lower income earners, the middle income earners, or the millionaires and billionaires? Well, we're going to discuss that in today's video. I'm also going to talk about those $2,000 tariff rebate checks. How likely is that going to happen at the same time President Trump is proposing an elimination of federal income taxes? Well, we'll address that in a moment. But I'm going to go over all the figures, explain what's going on, so hopefully you can understand exactly what President Trump is proposing and what's on the line for the American people. So, if you think an additional $14,000 is going to be better in your pocket than in the federal government's bank account, go ahead, hit that like button, and now let's begin. Look at this. It says income taxes could be eliminated soon due to tariffs, according to President Trump. I want to play that clip from just yesterday. Listen to this right here.
Couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large. And yet, other countries who have been ripping us off for many, many years they've just been ripping us to shreds.
President Trump says no. These countries are not going to continue to rip off the United States because very soon we are going to make a massive change. Now, here's where things are becoming very interesting. How much money would you actually save if we eliminated the federal income tax? And keep in mind, this is an elimination of the federal income tax, not the state tax. And also keep in mind, this does not change things like state taxes, okay? Doesn't eliminate payroll taxes, doesn't eliminate sales taxes, doesn't eliminate things like, well, again, we'll break all that down in a different video, but this is the federal income tax portion, okay? Everything else is still going to be taxed. Now, how much money would you save? Well, the average savings, this average federal income tax in 2024 was $13,890. Okay, that's how much it was. Here's the thing: this number isn't very accurate because some people paid very little or nothing. Other people paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, and so that's why it's very different. Now, here's what you need to know: about 150 million Americans file their taxes. Okay. The lower income Americans pay, and this is the bottom 50% of all taxpayers, they pay about $822 a year. $822 a year. It's very little. It's about, I think it's like under 4%. Their effective tax rate is under 4%. Pretty good. The middle income, okay? These are people that make between like $45,000 and $80,000 per year. This is the middle income. The middle income paid in 2024 averaged $10,391. Okay, again, pretty substantial there. And then obviously this is not going to this elimination of the federal income tax isn't going to benefit everybody equally, because the lower income households, again, they're only going to save under $1,000. Some families don't even pay any income tax at the end of the year because they made so little. As far as the millionaires and billionaires, high income households are going to gain the most from this because they currently pay the majority of the federal income tax. Okay, that's just the way it is. So what we're hearing is that on average, the American people will save about $14,000 per year. For middle income households, it's going to be a little bit over $10,000. For lower income households, they're going to save about $1,000 if President Trump is able to get this to go through. Now, here's where things get very interesting, okay? And this is what I really want you to take away from this. Currently, Okay, let me just show you this. It says $3 trillion in tariff revenue. Here's the problem with this. Okay, we cannot eliminate the federal income tax at the same time we are renegotiating with other countries to lower tariffs, because according to reports we would have to 8x our tariff revenue in order to pay for just the elimination of the federal income tax. But here's where things get even more interesting. President Trump, okay, he's promised $2,000 tariff rebate checks by the middle of 2026. This is what he promised. This was just a month ago, that he's been promising $2,000 checks to millions of Americans by the summer of 2026. And everyone's saying, oh, this is going to be great. I need the money. I could pay off some bills. I could catch up on student loans. I can do all these great things. Here's the problem, okay? Look at this right here. It says tariff dividends would cost more than tariff revenues will generate, which is the reason why President Trump cannot send 150 million Americans a $2,000 check, because that would actually be $300 billion. Okay? Right now, we are projecting $300 billion at the end of 2025. But it's going to come down to this holiday shopping season, which really kicked off today. Now, here's the issue, okay? And again, I really want to, I'm hoping that you people understand exactly where we're at. And President Trump does this all the time, where he floats an idea. He puts the idea out there and sees how many people really gravitate towards that. If it gets picked up by the media that, oh, this is really good. Now they're starting to do polls where, yeah, I like that. I think right now, the last poll that I saw, 80% of the American people, they believe a $2,000 tariff rebate check is something that should be sent out. 80%. That's a pretty substantial number. But I want to give you a couple other facts here. Here's the problem. If President Trump eliminates the federal income tax, that means we have to bring in, because keep in mind, for individual income taxes, the United States for fiscal year 2024, we brought in $2.4 trillion. So even if tariff revenue is at $300 billion, we have to 8x that in order to eliminate federal income taxes. Which again, it's possible, it's doable, but it would not be doable for every single household. Could we eliminate federal income taxes for the lowest income earners? Yes. Absolutely, yes, we could. Could we eliminate them for certain households in the middle class? Yes, absolutely. Okay, again, between $45,000 and like $85,000, that's the middle income household. So could we eliminate the lower half of that? So households making less than $60,000 per year, could we eliminate the federal income tax for those households? Yes. And according to reports about 2 months ago, those reports were saying that if we eliminated federal income taxes for people actually making less than $75,000 per year, we would not need much of the tariff revenue. We wouldn't need much of it simply because the majority of people making less than $75,000 per year are not paying a penny in income tax. Okay? They're not paying anything. So really, it doesn't do much. But it looks good on a political scale when you're going and the Republicans are there saying, hey, yeah, we eliminated the federal income tax for you. It looks great for the upcoming midterm elections. But does it really impact every single person's wallet? That right there, we don't know. I want to play something else for you, okay? Listen to this right.
But let's be clear-minded on this. We do need to be clear-minded. If the income tax, both the corporate and the individual, were eliminated, tariffs would have to go up significantly in all likelihood to make up for the loss of $3 trillion in revenue coming in from these taxes. But at the same time, Republicans would never lose another election again because everybody hates the income tax, especially Republicans, and I think they get a lot of crossovers. The people who wouldn't, the far left, but they do not make up enough of our country to influence the elections.
Okay, here's the thing, and we've seen this before. President Trump is known for floating different ideas. That $2,000 check, eliminating the federal income taxes, right? That's still on the table. Reducing the cost for the American people by renegotiating the tariffs with other countries. Think about this. If we have to 8x tariff revenue, that means we have to 8x the tariff on Mexico. I think it's like 25%. That's 150%. That would be ridiculous. I think Canada's what, 35% or something, or varies. China varies again. But things are going to get so expensive, it would be difficult for most households to make it. So, here are my final thoughts on this. Do I think there is a possibility of eliminating the federal income tax? Yes, absolutely I do. 100%. But it's not going to be to people that are making $150,000 plus. Okay? It's not going to be to families making $100,000. Okay? It's going to be to lower income households, maybe the bottom third of the middle income households. That would be it. All right? But that, if we do that and we eliminate the federal income tax, it could be a smaller chance we see the $2,000 tariff rebate actually happen come the middle of 2026. And based off what we've seen in the past, it would be better to send out a check to millions of Americans than it would to eliminate the federal income tax if we are looking at this from a we are going to win more seats in the upcoming election. All right, so if it's how do we win more seats in the upcoming election? Well, we give a $2,000 check. But, and I talked about this the other day, if President Trump is adamant that we are going to remove the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, who's been keeping interest rates pretty steady, and if he replaces him with his own pick of Kevin Hassett, his current economic advisor, well, the problem there is Kevin Hassett's likely going to lower rates a little bit faster, which could cause inflation. So, if we are looking at this from an inflationary standpoint, we can't give $2,000 stimulus checks or tariff rebates, but we could eliminate the federal income tax. That right there would not be as inflationary as $2,000 checks to millions of Americans. So that's currently where we stand. Again, a lot of back and forth here, a lot of ideas being floated, but President Trump has done this before. Floats these ideas and figures what the American people would like the most, and that's what he's going to go forward with. So we'll see what happens over the next several weeks or really several months, but as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.